Hi everyone. There seems to be some issue. This was I had scheduled the session, and there are a lot of people waiting on the other window. I'm gonna try and drop you a message, but it's not somehow not connecting in that window that I had created. So just I've been trying for 10 minutes now. So just give me one more second. I'm gonna try if I can actually get to you guys through the other window as well. And otherwise, what I'll do is I hope you guys get the message and we'll just do this. Oh, are you guys able to watch this? Are you actually here? I see that there are 25 people. Okay, great. So you guys are here. So if you have any specific questions, feel free to ask. Just be a little precise. Send them in the chat box. I'm reading the chat boxes. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to answer some of the questions that I got already on Instagram. And what we're going to do is that then we're going to take up the questions that you guys ask here. Okay. So I have the questions on my phone. I'm just going to go there and start. Okay. So the first question is how to manage the tussle between taking care of your family in another city and your career aspirations in some other city. In my case, my mom stays in Lucknow while I, due to lack of opportunities back there, and my mom is not ready to move with me. This is actually a question that comes up with a lot of people, especially in the modern times when you're working in the corporate sector. Corporate jobs, unfortunately, are limited to specific areas. So you have two options. One, you convince your mother to move with you, or you convince whoever is your family to move with you. And I know it's a little problematic simply because in the bigger city, your house will be smaller. The amount of money that you earn will not be enough in some cases for the whole family. But you also realize that in the long term, you save a lot of money because you're not always going back home to visit your family, and the mental tension that you go through living alone and always worrying that your parents back home are in trouble and they need you, and the guilt that you feel for being alone, living away from them and not taking care of them, that's going to be a problem. So one is that you try and convince them to move with you. Second option is that you plan your career well. You plan it such that, for example, you decide that you're going to be in a particular job or a profession for, let's say, 15 years. You earn enough money, you save enough money, and then you move back home, start up your own business. There's one problem in India. Most of us do not actually think of doing a business on our own. The first thing that you think of in your head is naukri or a job. So everybody is like, I need a job. Nobody says I will be the one giving the job. So that's a big problem for us as Indians, and that's a big problem that is inherent in all of us since childhood. But if you make a career plan wherein you say that, okay, I'm going to live in the city for 15 years, this is roughly the amount of money that I will save. And I'll give you a very quick formula for how you save money, okay? So if you have 100 rupees, 30 rupees should go in your house rent, okay? You should not be living in a house that costs more than 30 rupees out of that 100 rupees. So 30% roughly it should be your house rent. 30 to 40% should be your expenses. So let's say you earn 10,000 rupees. So your house rent should be not more than 3,000. And your expenses, living expenses, should be roughly around 3 to 4,000, somewhere between that. And the rest 3,000 you should be saving. So it's roughly a formula of 30% house rent, 30% to 40% your living expenses, depending on your health situation, depending on whether you have kids, depending on a lot of other factors, and 30% is roughly what you should try to save. So even for working couples, if you have both of you are earning, that's what you should think of. I am not going to answer anything related to UPSC preparation. So anybody who's asking me steps on that, you will not get an answer. Okay. So we're going to do other things today. I've already done a lot of videos on UPSC, so this is not going to be on that. Okay. So you start saving money every year. You plan and you start thinking of a business that you can set up back in your hometown. Because remember, what is happening is that everybody from those small towns is now coming to the big city. So there will obviously never be jobs in the small cities because the people who could have set up those jobs have already moved out. So if you're also a person who's moved out, how will there be jobs back home? So someone has to become the creator. Some of us have to take up that mantle. Some of us are really talented. We're just a little scared. So do your research well, do your background well, and just be, focus on that. Please do not repeat your questions. I will block you if you repeat the questions. Somebody has repeated the same question like 20 times. I'm going to block you if you do this, okay? Please allow other people to. I will take up your question. I just got a question from Hi Me. I'll take up your question. Please don't repeat the questions. Just wait for a minute. I will go back, scroll up, and come down to all the questions, okay? These are questions that people already sent me on Instagram. So that's what you do. You plan your career like that. Or thirdly, if in your small town you have cousins or your relatives who live near your parents, then maybe you can plan something that there is someone always there to take care of your mother. And especially for single mothers who live back home, I personally would not be comfortable if my family was living very far away from me and I was going to have a career in that other city for the rest of my life. So I would want them to move with me. I know that mothers are very stubborn. They never listen to the children when it comes to things like this, and you go through an emotional crisis because of that. But I would still suggest you have a dialogue with her. You tell her that these are my problems. This is the reason I want you to move. This is what I am facing. These are things that I worry about. So you talk about that, okay? Again, people are always already asking me about UPSC, so please don't. Okay, second question is, there is a certain expectation from people to accomplish things by a certain age, but I have come to an understanding that life is not linear. But sometimes it becomes a little overwhelming when you witness other people moving forward in their lives or in terms of career, relationships, etc. But yours is at a standstill. Perhaps things didn't go as planned and you experimented with certain things and failed. How do you deal with it? How do you regain your confidence? So, this is about the world putting pressure on you and telling you that if you're 20, you should have done this much. If you're 30, you should have done this much. If you're 30 and you're not married, oh my God. You know what? You're absolutely right. All of us have our own pace. And it's not necessary that you're going to be successful only if you've achieved everything by the time you're 25. There are a lot of us who start late, who, you know, everyone has their own journey. That's my only suggestion to you. Everyone has their own journey. Everybody has their own pace. Everybody has their own talent. Everybody has their own problems. And everybody has their own circumstances. So don't compare yourself because you're amazing yourself. Okay. You're doing the best you can. As long as you can tell yourself that I have done the best possible thing for myself in this situation, it's all right. If you keep comparing yourself, then none of us is ever going to measure up. None of us is ever going to be good enough. None of us is ever going to be all that great. So don't compare yourself. Do not let other people define what you should have done at particular age. If you're happy, if you know you've done your best, if you know you've worked hard enough, it's okay. All of us do things. I think I'm forgetting this, but Gandhiji also entered the whole movement of uh, remove the freedom and the independence movement at a very late age. So it's okay. So if Gandhiji did it that late, so can you. So don't worry about it. Don't let. I know the world keeps telling you, "Oh, your child is though that old. They didn't do this." The world isn't coming to feed you. The world isn't coming to take care of you. They didn't make it easy for you. They didn't lay out roses for you, and they didn't take care of your problems for you. So they don't get to decide by what age you should have done. So don't be defined by what others think you should have achieved by a particular age. So don't do that. Okay, moving on to the third question. Okay, so this is about the lockdown, and this is something that I've gotten from a lot of people saying that our parents are specifically yelling at us a lot, and our parents are screaming at us a lot, and we're facing a lot of problems at home, and people are behaving badly with us at home. This is the unfortunate reality of the lockdown. People don't have other outlets, so whatever one or two outlets they have, it's all coming down on those people. In fact, it's very sad, but the domestic violence rates in India have increased massively, and not just India, it's increased everywhere in the world. So whoever was the one being abused, regardless of whether it's a male, female, or a child or an older person, the rates for everybody have gone up. It's a very sad situation. But so if it's your parents, in a way, you can, do one thing. You can actually ask them. Uh, so you know what? It's your life that is getting affected, right? So you can't expect them to change. What you can maybe try, and this is something that does work, and I know it works, is try sitting down with them calmly. Okay, the key thing is that you cannot get angry, you cannot start yelling back, you cannot get emotional. Just calmly sit down with them, whoever is the person who's been yelling at you, not at the time when they're angry with you already and yelling at you, just at some other random point, and just ask them how they are doing. Ask them to tell you what they are feeling, ask them to tell you what they are going through. Don't tell them you talked to me like this at that time. Don't tell them that you yelled at me at that point. Don't do the blame game. And if you're having this conversation about understanding what they are going through and trying to help them go solve that issue, make it about them. Don't make it about you. Don't start putting in your ideas and your agendas and your problems into that. Don't start saying, yesterday you scolded me so badly, I hadn't done this, it was not my fault. Don't do that. When you're doing this conversation, you need to just ask them that you yelled at me at that point, that I see that you're going through a lot of stress. What happened? What are you so worried about? Okay, if it's your mom, say, मम्मी क्या हुआ, बहुत परेशान हो आप, क्या हुआ, क्या टेंशन है, बताओ ना. Just ask them to talk to you, just get them to talk to you. Just be there for them. It will work. The problem is most of us don't know how to handle our own problems, and most of the times parents especially don't have anybody to discuss. See, understand this. You think your parents are one identity, they're not. Your mother is a separate person and your father is a separate person, so both of them have their own problems and their own issues, and they may not be going through a phase where their own communication with themselves is great. See, unfortunately, in India, in an arranged marriage setup, uh, the couples don't really have an excellent communication with themselves, within themselves. They don't solve their own problems within themselves, they don't talk to each other, they don't help out each other. It's an unfortunate reality that we're living with. It's not a great thing, but that's something that we can change for ourselves in our married life. But that's something that your parents may be going through. So try talking to them, because see, if somebody yells at you and it's not your fault, then they're possibly yelling at you because they're going through some stress and some mental issues and some emotional problems of their own. So sit with them, talk to them, ask them what's happening, ask them what they're worried about, try helping them with the problem, try solving them with that thing, and there should be results. It helps, I know that it helps. That's how I handle things in my workplace. If I see an employee who's been yelling at people, I try to call that person to my office and I try to speak to them and I try to discuss life in general and try to help them with their problems and try to work with them on that. And slowly people tell you what they're going through, and then you can always help them and give them a positive solution, give them a suggestion, tell them how they can solve that issue, or maybe even you can solve that for them, right? For example, if there's a lady office staff that you have and she comes to office and she's been yelling and she's not doing her work well, you speak to her, you'll find out that she has problems at home. She's going through something with her family, and maybe her child is not well, or her child is not behaving properly, her child is in class 10th and she's worried that her child is going to fail. So there are things that you can solve. So that same thing happens in your family environment, and by the way, it works with bosses as well. So you can't outright ask your boss what happened, why are you so stressed, but you can slowly talk to them, be genial in the regular environment, be communicative. See, most of our problems arise from the fact that we do not communicate well. As a society, we are not taught to communicate at all. We don't know how to communicate with our family. We don't know how to communicate with our friends. We don't know how to communicate with our parents. We don't know how to communicate with the society. It's a big issue, but if we can monitor our own conversations, if we can monitor the way we communicate with the world, we'll possibly be able to solve a lot of our problems. So if you have family members who have issues, who are yelling at you, who's going through stress, try sitting down with them, try asking them what they're going through. Okay, so the fourth question, this is somebody, okay, it's a very long question. I'm just going to read it quickly and get back to you. Okay, so this is a person who was very, very smart till class 12th, and then they did their graduation and they're not doing so well in graduation. And now what is they failed medical entrances, and you said that you failed medical entrances for 2 years, and you're worried about your future, and you now people in your family have started giving your example in a negative sense, and you're getting frustrated by that, and you're getting frustrated that you who are an achiever have suddenly become a failure. uh, it's something that a lot of us go through, and especially children who have done excellently in school. It's actually seen very commonly that people who have excelled in school do not go on to excel in life. It's also because such people tend to set very high and very unrealistic expectations from themselves. So if you're somebody who sets very high, and I'm just going to block this person, he seems to be spamming. I'm going to just block you because you're spamming this, and this is not fair to others. If you're somebody who's please don't make me block you, Mr. Harsh Sharma. Please don't make me block you. Do not do this. Do not spam the messages. If you have something, please just don't do this. I'm just going to hide you. So here is how you handle this. You decide a career plan for yourself, and don't put too much pressure on yourself. Make it a little realistic. Make it so for example, you're a person who gets 90%, so you assume that I'm going to get 90 in my college as well. Actually, don't do that. Okay, what you do is that, wait, I am sorry, I unblocked somebody else. Yeah, I blocked somebody else. This is a person who needs to be blocked. This is somebody else. So you're somebody who's been an achiever, and you understand that life is important, and you're doing well. But this is very distracting and very rude. Very, very rude behavior. I'm just gonna block you. You're being very, very rude to others. So okay, whoever is asking about optionals and all, this is not going to happen. We're not discussing all of that. Okay. Coming back to that, set yourself goals which are a little smaller. Okay. And if you feel that at this point in your life, you are not achieving what you want to, and you're not at the level that you want to, what you do is you set smaller goals. Okay. So, this is something that I tell a lot of kids for other things as well. Please set realistic targets, and please set smaller goals and then climb step by step. See, if you're here and you suddenly try to jump here, it won't happen. What you need to do is you need to set smaller, realistic targets, set step by step targets. So if you're somebody who's not achieved the thing that they wanted to after 12, it's okay. You set yourself a different goal and make it a little smaller. Don't make it as high pressure as it was earlier. Make a smaller goal. Trust me, 18, 19, 20 is not an age where you should consider yourself a failure. You have the rest of your life to still keep achieving. So don't do that. Don't be this person. Set yourself realistic targets, set yourself small targets, and try achieving that. 18, 19, 20, a lot of people have done nothing who go on later to achieve massive things. You're very young, you still have all the opportunities in the world. You just need to start seeing them. So if you're not happy with what you have currently in your hand, plan smaller goals, plan accordingly. For example, if you're not getting into the medical college and you wanted to get into that, but you're doing graduation in some other stream now, maybe going for an MBA, or maybe plans, sitting for civil services or something. So that's something that you should do, right? Okay. So coming back to fifth question, and this is also one of those questions that people ask a lot. It's like it is that I don't have many friends. Okay, so um, if you don't have many friends, it can't be other people's fault. Think about it. Everybody else has friends. So if you don't have friends, if there are people who don't want to speak to you, then maybe you're doing something wrong. So what you need to do is that you need to decide that what think about yourself and think, what am I doing that is wrong? Because it's very easy to blame the world and say nobody wants to be friends with me. Is that really the case, or is it some that you're not somebody that makes an effort to be friends with others? Friendship is a two-way street. It doesn't happen on your own. You cannot force yourself to be friends with someone, and you cannot force someone else to be friends with you, right? So friendship is a two-way street. What you need to do is that you need to figure out where you're going wrong, figure out how you've not been open to others, how you've been maybe judgmental of others. Maybe if you're somebody whose expectations of people is too high. Maybe you expect your friends to be always there for you, and maybe your relationships are very focused on yourself. A lot of the times the biggest mistake we make is that in all of our relationships we're always thinking about ourselves, that that person was mean to me, that person didn't speak to me politely, that person didn't give me there, they didn't share this with me. We never analyze what we've been giving back. We never think of what did I do for that person. And if you want a healthy happy relationship, you will need to be the person who also gives. So you can't change the world. And trust me, if one person doesn't want to be friends with you, maybe it's their fault. But if the whole world doesn't want to be friends with you, then it's not them. Then it's us, right? It's ourselves if people don't want to be friends with us. If nobody wants to be friends with me, then it's my fault. How can it be someone else's fault? Because somebody would have wanted to. So start looking into yourself, start figuring out what you're doing wrong. Maybe you're a person who doesn't have anything interesting to say. So be an interesting person. Have hobbies. Have something that you're interested in that you can share with the world. For example, if you're a person who reads a lot, trust me, you will have a lot of friends. I've rarely seen a person who reads a lot who does not have friends. It makes you interesting. It gives you a lot of other topics to talk about. Or if you like playing sports, so if you join a team, you will obviously have friends. If you are into, maybe join clubs or maybe join hobbies. If you're a working professional, you can join courses. You can join after work courses. So there are weekend courses. You can join dance classes. You can join music classes. You can always make that effort to make friends. And the deal is you cannot force friendship. So you cannot send someone a message and say, I want to be friends with you. They will not be friends with you. That's not how you become friends. There has to be a reason for both of you wanting to be friends, right? I have, I think, more than 20, 30 people that I call my close friends, and I have more than 100 good friends, and I really mean good friends. And that's mainly because there's a lot of shared interests that we have, there's a lot of shared hobbies that we have, and there's a lot that all of us do for each other, right? There's a lot of us. There's a lot that we contribute for each other. So, for example, if I'm going through a problem, I know I can call up my friends and just talk to them, and they'll listen to me, and they'll get back to me. And I have personally helped out almost all my friends with their emotional problems, with their other problems. So it's a give and take. So you cannot force friendship, but you can always analyze what you're doing wrong and then maybe try to correct that. So I'm taking the sixth question. This is specifically for girls. Last 2-3 months, somehow I've been getting a lot of messages by girls saying that I sent this video to this person and now he's blackmailing me. And most of the time, what happens is the girls don't say it about themselves. They say, a friend of mine sent a video to somebody and that person is blackmailing me. So here is something for the men. Please don't do this. Do not insult women like that. Do not use someone's trust in such a horrible way. Do not betray someone's trust in such a terrible way. Don't do this. Don't be this mean to another human being who trusted you. If you betray someone's trust, it's not on them, it's on you. It shows your character, not theirs. To the girls, it's a cyber world. It's a world where everything gets shared within a minute. Don't even think about that person will before you type a message, before you send a photo, before you send a video, think for a minute this person may lose their phone. Whoever you're sending it to, they may lose their phone. That means that video or photo or a message will now be read and accessible to the person who finds their phone. Okay, or that person may send screenshots to someone else. That person may forward that to someone else. So please be very, very, very careful when using social media, when using internet to share personal information. Do not do this. Do not send your videos or photos that you will not be comfortable with your relatives seeing, with your parents seeing, or with your teachers seeing. Don't ever do that. That goes for the boys as well. Remember that these things are there on the internet forever and they can come back to haunt you. Especially if you're somebody who does something, who did something like this when you're 15, 16, 17, and then you're in your 20s and you're making a career, they can come back to haunt you. And right now, remember this: employers check your social media profiles, employers scroll through your past social media posts, they check what you've been doing on the internet, and then form an opinion about you. For example, if you're going to become, let's say, the CEO of a company, and there are four people who have to be interviewed, and you have something that objectionable or that silly floating out in the world, it can harm your chances. So you did it when you're 15, and now you're 50, and 35 years later, that thing comes back to haunt you. So whenever you take an action, whenever you do something, um, please remember it's going to be there forever. It's going to be around forever, and it can come back and haunt you forever and ever and ever. Okay, so I'm going to talk about inferiority complex, because that's one of the first questions I'm seeing that someone asked. So I'm going back. I think finished all the questions that I had on my phone. Yes, I finished all the 5 questions. I said I'll take 10, so I'm gonna go and check. So somebody is a scoliosis patient, and you're saying that you have, you have inferiority complex. Somebody just asked me something about their career as well. So hail shake. I won't be taking your questions in this session because this is not a career. Maybe I'll try to do a session later, so then we'll talk about that. I'm doing emotional issues only right now. So about inferiority complex. Why do you have an inferiority complex? What? Just because you have scoliosis, there's something wrong with you. It's not something that you could control. It's not your fault. You did not decide that you will get scoliosis. You did not decide that I will look like this. That's something that nature gave you. You cannot feel bad about what nature gave you, what you were given when you were born. You cannot judge yourself on that. You should only judge yourself on things that you have done. So if you have not taken care of yourself, if you have misbehaved with yourself, and if you've been careless about yourself or neglectful about yourself, if you are not someone who lives healthy or has created problems for yourself, then judge yourself, then feel bad. Please feel bad if you have created for problems for yourself, but this is not something that you've created. This is not your problem. This is not what you've done. So I see no reason why you should feel bad about something that happened to you, that you did not do to yourself. And this goes for people. A lot of people will never post this question, but this goes for people who have also gone through childhood trauma, for children who've been abused as children, adults who've been abused as children. Please don't feel bad. This is not about you. You did not create that situation. You did not put yourself in that place. You did not, you were not responsible. Do not feel guilty about things that are not in your control and are not your fault. Yes, sometimes we think this was not in our control, and you must analyze that. You must analyze that, were these things something that were not in your control? But for things like childhood abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, it's not your fault. Please do not feel guilty. And to everybody out there who has gone through kind of a childhood abuse, please seek help. I've been getting a lot of cases. I'm trying to help those. Whatever time you message me, if it's a case of abuse and trauma, I try helping out in whatever way I can. I've even connected some people to my batchmates across the country to help out. There's not much you can do legally if it's something that happened many years ago, but there is a lot of trauma that you need to deal with. And please forgive yourself. I will repeat this. Please forgive yourself for things that are not your fault, for things that you're born with, for things that adults did to you when you were a child. You need to forgive yourself. You need to not let that matter to you, right? So I'm gonna talk about. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do three more questions. Okay. Um, mm, okay. Uh, a lot of you are talking about UPSC, so I'm not gonna take that. Okay. Somebody asked about homosexuality. I'm sorry that we live in a country where you're not allowed to be yourself and the world judges you for something that you were born with. And on my level, I'm trying to change that belief. I'm trying to change the ideas behind it, the way people perceive it. Maybe we can actually do a full session. I actually counseled someone for like 2 hours on this the other day, but maybe we can do a full session on this. But uh, are you brave? The question boils down to, are you brave? Are you someone who believes in themselves, who's confident about themselves, and who has the courage to be honest with themselves and let the world be who it is and live your truth? So it all comes down to this. It all comes down to whether you have the courage to face your problems yourself, whether you can stand up for yourself, whether you can live by with the world judging you, at, and especially your family members and your relatives and the society that you were born with in. If you're from a village, this is an advice I think I gave you only, or I don't remember who I gave it to. But maybe move to a bigger city, a city like Delhi or Bombay or Bangalore, where people um, will not have time to worry too much about what you're doing in your personal life. See, that's one problem in India. We're all so free to, you know, have opinions about other people's lives. Like, why are we not busy enough to have our own things to do? Why do we all have so much time that we can form opinions on others? And so we only do two things. We either form opinions about others, or we're too busy about the opinions others may have about us. I honestly think we should not do either of these two things. Have your opinions about yourself, believe in yourself, and just live with that. So, if you're somebody who's from a village, maybe move to a big town, maybe move to a place where there are not enough people, and bigger cities are a little more open about this idea, are a little more accepting of your lifestyle, and will not judge you so much. And maybe you can find a partner. I hope you can. I know a lot of people who are homosexuals and who are living really happy lives. I wouldn't say perfect happy lives, but still relatively happy. And that's only happening when they've accepted themselves, when they've decided to live their truth, they've decided that they will live the way they are. So maybe first, don't judge yourself. Stop judging yourself. Stop feeling guilty about things that you cannot control. So don't do that. Second, move to a bigger city. And I think you don't need to discuss your personal life with the whole world. I think I see no reason why others should have an opinion about who you should date and who you should be with, unless it's illegal. It shouldn't be something creepy like you're dating a child or something. But other than that, people don't get to have an opinion. As long as it's a consensual adult relationship, it's your business, it's your problem. You are the only two people who get to decide. And please, it shouldn't be a relationship where you're hurting someone, right? So don't be a cheater, which is why I will not recommend that you get married, which is what you had asked me. That that my family is heterosexual बनना पड़ेगा क्योंकि family force करेगी शादी करने को. Please don't do that. You will spoil some other person's life as well. If you're a guy, you will spoil the girl's life, and if you're a girl, you'll spoil the male's life, and maybe be unhappy and be extremely unhappy yourself. And people are always going to act a little strange anyway. So move to a bigger city, move to a place where people are a little more accepting, and live from that. I hope that helped. I really hope that helped. You can message me on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll talk more. Okay. ओके मैम, मेरा ब्रेकअप हो गया है, मैं कोई डिसीजन नहीं ले पा रहा हूँ, व्हाट डू आई डू? बेटा, आपका क्वेश्चन हिंदी में है तो मैं आंसर भी हिंदी में करूंगी. किस बात का डिसीजन नहीं ले पा रहे हो आप? देखो, अगर आपका ब्रेकअप हुआ है उसमें तीन चार चीजें होती हैं. अगर आपकी गलती है और आपने उस इंसान को हर्ट किया है तो प्लीज सॉरी बोल दो. अच्छे से दिल से मान के अपोलोजाइज कर लो. दिल से मान के कह दो कि मेरी गलती थी एंड आई एम सॉरी एंड आई शुडंट हैव डन दैट. मे बी वो आपको वापस ले, मे बी वो ना ले, बट एटलीस्ट आपको क्लोजर मिल जाएगा, आपका गिल्ट कम हो जाएगा एंड आप आगे बढ़ पाओगे बिकॉज आपने अपनी तरफ से जो गलत किया था उसे ठीक कर दिया. अगर उसने आपको चीट किया है, उसने आपको छोड़ा है, उसने आपको मना किया है, फिर तो प्रॉब्लम ही कुछ नहीं है. अगर वो इंसान आपको नहीं चाहता है तो आप क्यों टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो उसके पीछे? जो जिस इंसान को आपकी कदर नहीं है, आप क्यों उसके बारे में अपनी जिंदगी बर्बाद कर रहे हो? आपने पास्ट बर्बाद कर दिया, राइट? आपका पास्ट आज की डेट में बर्बाद हो गया क्योंकि वो रिलेशनशिप फ्रूटफुल नहीं निकली. फ्यूचर क्यों बर्बाद कर रहे हो? एक ऐसे इंसान पे अपना फ्यूचर क्यों लगा रहे हो जिसने आपके पास्ट की और प्रेजेंट की कदर नहीं करी? वो इंसान आपको डिजर्व भी नहीं करता ना फिर. क्योंकि जिसने आपको आज नहीं रखा उसको आप वापस लाके क्या फायदा? क्या गारंटी है वो बाद में भी आपके साथ रहेगा? और जिस इंसान को आप चाहिए ही नहीं तो उसके लिए आप अपना टाइम क्यों बर्बाद कर रहे हो? कोई मतलब, उसने आपका पास तो ले लिया, अब आप उसको फ्यूचर भी दोगे. आपका इमोशनल हेल्थ ले ली, अब करियर भी दोगे. तो बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हम बाउंड्रीज क्रिएट करें और बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हम कंपार्टमेंटलाइज करना सीखें. तो किसी इंसान ने अगर आपका बैक पास्ट लिया है और आपको धोखा दिया है या आपको छोड़ा है, तो आप ये मान लो वो आपको डिजर्व नहीं करता. अगर आप ऑनेस्ट थे और आप ट्रूथफुल थे उस रिलेशनशिप में एंड दैट पर्सन डिडंट केयर, देन दे डोंट डिजर्व यू. व्हाई आर यू वरीड अबाउट देम? जस्ट लीव देम एंड मूव ऑन. बिकॉज एक चीज याद रखना, पास्ट पे तो रिग्रेट कर ही रहे हो, ऐसा ना हो जो फ्यूचर आने वाला है उसका भी रिग्रेट बन जाए. और वो आपके हाथ में है. पास्ट का रिग्रेट अब आपके हाथ में नहीं है, बट फ्यूचर का तो है ना. तो उसको मत छोड़ो, ठीक है? कोई डिसीजन इसलिए नहीं ले पा रहे हो, मे बी यू हैवंट पोस्टेड व्हाट योर डिसीजन वाज लाइक और व्हाट इट वाज अबाउट, सो I'm not able to help you on that. Okay, maybe if you had posted that I would have helped. Okay, let's go. Mm, uh, पढ़ाई से रिलेटेड मैं कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं ले रही हूँ. आई हैव ऑलरेडी डन दीज 70,000 टाइम्स. Okay, how would you mediate a dispute between two staff members? This is the second last question I'm taking. Yeah. Um, what you do is you individually talk to both of them and you ask them what happened, what is the situation, what has been happening. And remember, you have to be fair. If you are the boss, you have to be fair. You have to not go in with having opinions about them. Let them talk to you, let them tell you what the issue is. Separately, listen to them, and then call them together and ask them to talk, and you mediate and you make sure you tell them what is right and not what don't be biased. It's very important that as a boss you are somebody who's unbiased. You cannot have biases when you're resolving disputes, and you will generally know that in dispute in this situation who has to do what. So you just tell them that, okay, this is the situation. It happens way too often in my office. Everybody's like, this is not my job, that was his job, he didn't do it. You call them together and you ask them, okay, why couldn't you do it? And they'll come up and tell you, this is the reason I couldn't do it. So the other party will say, no, you never told me, you needed me to do this, and that's why. So generally you can reach it. So three steps. Two steps is one, individually speak to both the sides. Third step, call them together, sort it out in that discussion. Please do not be biased. My mom always get an eye on my every work. How to handle? What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean. My hair is falling. I'm sad. Oh, we're all sad when our hair falls. Do you want to try any of the hair strengthening remedies that Indians always come up with. Try that. Maybe it works. I haven't tried any of it, so maybe it works. But your hair on your head doesn't define the person you are. If you're an amazing person, otherwise, there'll be people around you no matter what. See, our physical appearance is important because it attracts people around us to us, right? That's the only reason physical appearance is important. But trust me on this, it doesn't matter what you look like once you start opening your mouth. Yeah. So if your hair is falling and you're sad, um, make sure that there are other things about you that keep people interested. So, like I said, be someone who has a lot of hobbies, who knows a lot about the world, who's done something special. So, ma'am, how can I come out from depression? Please help me. If you are talking about some serious depression, I will seriously recommend please seek a proper counselor. There are a lot of online counseling helplines. You can call up or you can even chat. Even I believe CBSC has been running one. There are a lot of mental health awareness helplines. I actually posted a number on my Facebook and my Instagram some time ago. I think it was the Arpan helpline. But there are a lot of NGOs that are running helplines. There are a lot of NGOs that are running counseling centers. Even Delhi University has its own in-house counseling center, which outsiders can also access. So I would seriously recommend that if you realize that you are going through depression, please seek help. Please seek professional help. This forum and me here will not be the right way because there'll be deeper issues that need to discuss. Someone will have to sit and really help you figure out each of your problems, each of your issues. And please don't ignore this. Please don't ignore yourself. Please, nobody is going to come take care of you if you don't take care of yourself. So I'm seriously recommending you, please don't do that. Somebody's asking about uncertainty in these times. Have goals. Have things that you want to do. Have things that you want to focus on. Have things that you will, plan for. For example, I'll tell you what I did. I have planned like 5 trips I will take once this is over. So I don't know what dates they will be, but I have my mental 5 locations, and I've asked my friends that you're going on this trip with me, you're going on that trip with me. So I've got my whole itinerary planned, and that's something that I'm looking forward to. So have plans for when this is over. What will you do? So if you do something like that, it helps. You always in life need something to look forward to. That's why when we're stagnated in our career, it becomes such a bad situation. You always, always, always need something to look forward to, something to plan for, something to aim for. So I would suggest, I like traveling. I love traveling. So that's what I have been focusing on. Maybe you can find something that you are good at. How to handle if someone is suffering from tumor? Have you not seen a doctor? I don't know how you could be suffering from tumor. I'm not a medical professional. I will not advise you. Please see a doctor if you haven't. Or if you need emotional help, please see a counselor. I'm sure your doctor, whoever is handling your, maybe you need an oncologist, or I don't know what you need, what tumor it is, or what sort of doctor you need. But please see a doctor, and please, go get them to recommend a therapist to you. Get them to recommend counselor to you. Please do not post abuses. This is very disrespectful to me also. Oh yes, for girls, manage marriage pressure because it affects my studies. Yeah, the world always keeps telling you you're a girl, so you need to finish everything by the time you're married. Can I tell you something? I know a lot of women who have even cleared the IAS exam many years after their marriage, and not just 2, 3, 4 years, like many, many years after their marriage. So have a lot of men. So marriage, maybe try separating your marriage from your studies. Disconnect the two is what I would recommend. So if your family thinks you should be married at a particular age and you emotionally feel ready, please do not get married if you do not feel emotionally ready. If you feel emotionally ready, but you also have your career that you haven't really brought to the place that you want it to be, when your family finds someone for you, and I'm assuming that if you're somebody who's on pressure for marriage, it's an arranged marriage setup. In love marriage, nobody's really pressurizing you to get married. So it's an arranged marriage setup that we're talking about. So what you do is that you talk to the person that you've been introduced to and tell them that you have these career plans, and see how they react. See if they're open to that, and then say yes. See, if you agree to your parents and say that, okay, I will get married if you want me to, just find me someone who is okay with these career plans of mine, they will do that. Okay, they will do that. But if you keep saying, I don't want to get married, I don't want to get married, I don't want to get married, and I want to study only, that's a conflict. So how we resolve it is, you've created an unnecessary conflict. You just tell them, I want to get, okay, I will get married, but the person needs to be okay with these career plans of mine, and he needs to support me on that. I think that'll work. I think that works. I've known cases where it worked. And I know a lot of people who've set up beautiful careers. I know people who've been married and become doctors after that. In fact, my dad's aunt, yeah, back in 1930s, 40s, actually became a doctor after marriage. Her in-laws, which is our family, actually educated her. So that also used to happen back then, is what I'm talking about. 40s, 50s, yeah, 40s, 50s. So it can happen. You can find progressive men who will be okay with you forming careers. So why not? See, don't get married if you're not ready for it. Okay, if you're emotionally not ready for it, do not. But if you're emotionally ready and your only worry is your career, then I think you can adjust. Okay, I am sorry, I have run out of time, and okay, I'm just gonna quickly take one or two more questions if there is something very serious. So there's one question on identify your passion in life, and that's it. How to handle emotional abuse faced years before. We should not take revenge, but we cannot forget the things done to us. I know you cannot. So there is a trick that I do, which is I write down whatever I'm feeling. Okay, I write it on a pen and paper, and then I tear it up and I throw it away. So it's a way of working out your own emotions. So if you're angry with someone, and for emotional abuse, you're actually just angry with someone. Okay, you're still in that stage of trauma where your anger exists. So what you do is either you find a counselor, you talk about it to someone, and sometimes you don't need to find a counselor. You can actually find a friend who will listen to you. That's what friends are for, right? To listen to us and to help us through. So sometimes you can just find a friend who can help you, find a friend who will be your counselor, and talk to them. Or what you do is that you actually try this trick, write it down, throw it away, tear it up, write it down, throw it away. It is sort of throwing away all your negative emotions, throwing away all your thoughts, and throwing away, any baggage that you mentally have. It works for me. It may not work for massive abuse cases. In that, it's advisable you seek professional help. But if you're not open to that, maybe you have a friend or a relative or somebody that you're close to that you can discuss this. I know a lot of the times it's not easy to discuss these things with our parents. So I'm not recommending things discussing with your parents. And I'll tell you the reason why you can't discuss it with your parents. The problem is, as parents, everybody feels that it's my responsibility that my child had a perfect life. So if my child comes and tells me that they did not have a perfect life and I did not know about it, I feel guilty. And I feel angry with myself, but I take it out on my child. I don't take it out on myself because in that moment I don't know how to react. My emotions are so overwhelmed, I take it out on my child. My child who was already feeling traumatized, I traumatize them further. And it's because I'm feeling bad about my own actions. I'm feeling bad that I did not help my child, I did not save my child, I did not protect my child. So it's understand when your parents are unresponsive, that they are not ready to face their own guilt. It's simply that they cannot face themselves when you tell them that they failed to protect you. So which is why sometimes parents aren't the best people to discuss these issues with, and especially not abruptly. They need to be prepared. And but if you can talk to your parents, there's nothing better than that. If you have parents that you feel you can approach, and it is something that you must do, I totally recommend it, that please speak to your parents, because trust me on this, nobody in the world wants things as well for you as your parents do. Nobody is that big a well wisher for you as your parents. Nobody wants you to rise, more than they have. Only your parents. Your parents are the only two people on the planet who want you to do better than they did. Okay, so your parents will be there for you if you can reach to them, but remember that they will also have this moment when they feel guilty about not being able to protect you, and that might come out on you. So you need to talk to them, you need to be prepared for that, and if that doesn't happen, you have amazing parents. But if that does happen, give them time to process it. Tell them this, that I understand, that this is not your fault. I'm not blaming you. I'm not telling you that you failed. I just need you to support me now. It works. For someone who talked about their how do I find my passion, right? I'm gonna come back to that, and I think I'm gonna close with that. Uh, there seems to be a lot of questions and other things. Mm, unconscious when it comes to emotional triggers. Guys, this session is going to become very, very long if I take up all of those kind of questions. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to try and schedule a session sometime later. We are already at 51 minutes, and I need to do some other work as well. So, I'm having, have a lot of charges right now. I'm handling a lot of profiles in my job. Beta, you've just said something that if our parents don't love us, what to do? I don't. I'm sorry for you if you feel that way. Maybe find out if that's the truth, or maybe find out if they're also going through something, and they just don't know how to take care of you in that moment. See, our parents are also individuals. As children, we forget to treat them and realize that they are also people who are going through things, who have problems, who are handling things, who are responsible for things, and hence under a lot of stress and tension. So it may not be that they don't love you, it's just that they are going through so many things that they are emotionally not equipped to handle, and hence they might not have done the best possible thing for you. So maybe try seeing that. Secondly, I'm just going to talk about that one question, how do we find our passion, right? And I'm going to close with that. I hope it was helpful to you guys. Okay, so how do you find your passion? One trick is do experiment. Try out as many things as possible. By the way, even being someone who likes meeting new people can be an interesting, can be a passion. You can be a person who likes just talking to new people and getting to know new people, getting to know about new cultures, getting to know about new ideas, new backgrounds. That is also a passion. So don't ignore that kind of thing. Don't go by the traditional way people judge each other. We all have strengths, and they can be things like this as well. Okay, so you just have to realize that about yourself. And if you are not sure what your passion is, experiment. Try out as many things as possible, especially if you're a school student or a college student. The opportunities are huge. I joined almost every club that was there in my college. And I, by the way, also started like 10, 15 clubs. Okay, and in both school and college, I used to start a lot of things, and I used to do all of that. So that's what I would recommend, that if you're not someone who knows what your passion is, maybe find that. Okay, okay, so that ends today. Hope this was helpful, and I hope I answered most of your questions. We can take some of them later if you have, and good luck to you all. Please be healthy, please be safe, please follow instructions. And it's not just your physical health, it's also your emotional and mental health that you need to take care of. Take care. See you. Bye bye.